Welcome back to the Elements of Evolution for another episode. Today I have with me Stacy Olsen, a Chicago-loving tarot reading woman living in attunement with her Ludovine and supporting her clients and students to live their Ludovine divine light. Today I'm so excited to bring you a conversation given that it is Leo season, the home of the sun, our planet of consciousness. And what a perfect adjunct to the last conversation all about the sun. So today's cosmic collaboration is between Leo astrology and tarot, the strength card. And Stacy is going to kick us off with her interpretation and insight into the strength card. Welcome, Stacy.
So excited to be here and happy Lionsgate to all. And yes, we're kind of in the thick of the energies, and that's actually a big reason why this popped in to our discussions recently. So very excited to speak to the strength card, and I've got a few different versions here, but just starting with the very traditional, the Rider-Waite deck. The strength card has always been one of my favorites because actually I have a photo of me as a little kid. We were at the mall one day and they had like little lion cubs. And so I got to sit and hold. And so the first time I ever saw this card, I instantly like went back to that place of holding this little lion cub. Well, I mean, it wasn't that little, but and just the strength, which I love in another one of these versions of these cards, but I love when you think about a lion, strength is really what you think of, unless you're thinking of Wizard of Oz and courage. But when you look at a lion, there's no doubt that they're a strong being, right? And it's not necessarily, because you can see their teeth, but their whole presence is very strong and very mighty and very regal. And so I love the Rider-Waite portrayal of this because this woman very calmly, like literally has her hands like in this open mouth of this lion, um, proving that strength can be very, visible, very present. And there's also can be kind of a quiet strength, which we'll get into a little bit later. But also, I just love that with Leo season, the number 8 aligns with the abundance, with the month of August. And it's not only the number of the card, but as you can see it, the infinity symbol over her head is representative of abundance, manifestation, flow. It's very attuned to the season that we're in.
Mhm.
So that's just kind of a basic overview of the Rider-Waite version. Do you have anything that's coming through for you right now before we go into a couple of others?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yes.
I love that this card portrays such a gentleness and it's almost like soft strength and power. I'm going to bring in the word power here because it's not a power over, it's a power with. There's something beautiful about attunement and how that can make us strong, that can make us feel strong. And Leo is the archetype of both the child and the lion, and you actually just weave them together perfectly, especially with this opening story of a child holding a lion, because that is the love of the child and the beauty of the lion, the reverence, the respect, the strength already coming into this conversation. So when we
Yeah.
think about the child as this archetype of Leo, in a really unconscious, innate way, children come into this world unquestioning their place, unquestioning that they are worthy of love, and they operate in this really organic way that they are love. They are radiating love. They are worthy of receiving love. And you can watch children all the time, meeting another child, say at the playground and holding hands almost immediately or hugging or walking up to a total stranger who's crafting on the ferry while you're making your way over from Vancouver Island and making friends. and it's just this immediate connection, heart open, loving energy that is so beautiful to witness. And it's sort of this self-assuredness. So Leo is accepting yourself and then some, loving yourself in such a way that you're not afraid to shine, to see and be seen. And then with the lion part of that, the lion does not ask for permission to be the king of the jungle. It just is the king of the jungle. It does
Yeah.
not give a shit if the roar scares the birds away. It just is. It is this power and strength embodied and this unshakable, unquestionable knowing of their place in the world, and they're born worthy. It is their heritage, it is their birthright to exist. And I also love that you brought in the number 8 here and the infinity symbol over this woman's crown, because when we think about the heart and Leo ruling the heart, and we think about love, not only is love the highest frequency that we can possibly feel in our body, but we then can not only attract more love, but titrate in more of what we want. So when you're bringing in words like abundance and pleasure, and when we think about kids, play, and kids are the best yogis, they're the best at being present. So they're able to actually receive more of what they're focusing on, which is fun, play, all the good things that we want to feel more of. So you've opened this conversation up with so many pieces already, and I'm curious what the other cards say, or if there's more to say about Rider Waite after that one.
Well, you kind of led me to this next card, which I wasn't sure which one we were going to talk about next, and now I am. But this is the from the that Dream Tarot deck that I used for our son conversation to start last time. And when you were saying about like allowing ourselves to shine and not asking permission to be king of the jungle or, to be our most authentic selves, this card really, I think, brings that through because he is very clearly unapologetic about his strength and courageousness and authenticity and standing in his regal kingship, kingship, lordship. And and it's almost like they're kind of the same like entity. Um, almost like her arms are around him from behind, but almost like they're one being. And she also is very kind of that more quiet power, quiet strength, where it's like, are you going to fuck with her? I'm probably not going to, nor with him, right? And allowing the shine. So, she even has like, I don't know if you can see in her jewelry, like it's very bright, very like starry. It's not able to, but then even behind her, like in the out in the universe and allowing herself really to be one of the stars. I
Mm.
feel like this lends itself more towards the strength side that you were talking about with Leo, as opposed to the childlike. This is the more like mature, more progressed phase of this strength that we come into as adults, as leaders in the world, as the king, really, of your domain, your family, your career, your finances, whatever it is, and really that powerful, um, unshakable, and unapologetic strength.
Ooh, okay. So for anyone listening and not watching, what I'm seeing here is the roar of this beautiful beast, mouth open, teeth bared, and the woman's face. The vibe that she's giving me is like give no fucks, because I'm so firmly rooted in my inner truth. There is zero looking for external validation from this woman and this beast combo. And it just like, yeah, you can say a little bit of resting bitch face, but it's like there's some power behind that face. It is definitely like I know my truth. I know me. And I actually don't need any fluff. I don't need any BS. I don't need anyone to give me my permission. This is someone that feels like life experience has been had. So I love that you talk about the strength card from the Rider Waite and from this conversation of the child maturing into this visual, what we're seeing here with this woman standing like her spine feels tall, her chest feels open. There's no concave posture around her heart at all. There's no need to protect. There's a pride here. And it does remind me of this regal energy of the Lion of Leo and this energy of it ties so beautifully in with leadership because when we think about regal, we think about royalty, and it immediately makes us think about leadership. And this is not leadership that is selfish and disregarding the needs of others, but it's also I'm not going to dull my shine to make other people who are operating from this place of wounding or insecurity. I'm not going to worry about making them comfortable. I'm actually going to shine so that my light calls them up, even if the call is fucking uncomfortable. Because what do we do? A perfect example of this is let's say you're scrolling. You are a human being who is a leader in your own world. You have a business that you're building, you lead your family, whatever it is. And then you're scrolling on social media and you see someone doing something that you are so fucking close to doing. Let's say that they are public speaking and you feel this hot energy run through your body. And the only thing that you know how to call it is like jealousy, let's say. And what is this message really telling us? It's not that you can't do that, that they're better than you, that you don't have what it takes to be a public speaker. No, it's, oh my gosh, this jealousy is actually telling me I want that and I'm so freaking close to it. So this maturity, this strength from the inside, it's just calling us up. Even if some of our experiences when we're rubbing up against other beings that have so much light, so much power, they are embodying their strength. They have no self-doubt. They're operating in a way that feels very confident, very bold, very courageous. When we rub up against that and it causes something in our body to speak to us in an uncomfortable way, that's not something to run away from. That is our responsibility to get curious about, to alchemize, and to rise up into the highest version of ourselves that we possibly can. So this mature card, I'm loving the theme of that.
Right. Me too. And when you were speaking to that and you were talking about like the look on her face, I am like getting 100% sovereignty. She's like, yep, I'm good. I need nothing. And everything is at my disposal. I am
Mhm.
100% sovereign. And really, when you think about like this, especially this lion and here on this card, he is too. He's like, yeah, I don't need anything. Thanks. I'm good. I I don't need the external. And when I do see someone doing something, my thought is, oh, I'm gonna do that too, as opposed to the letting the stirrings that when they come up, if you're seeking them with curiosity, seeking these stirrings with curiosity, the childlike, like you talked about earlier, then that's just going to keep leaving you into, here comes that infinity sign again, that flow of, I want more, I have more. It's almost like an instant manifestation, which with Lionsgate, it's instantly manifesting those things just through mindset and heart set, as opposed to having to work for something. Like she
Mhm.
doesn't look like she has to work very hard for anything. It just is coming to her, right?
And I think that it's so cool too for listeners for us just to make this distinction between the energy of need and want. And it's so
Mm.
interesting how sometimes you hear people try and validate their desires. Like saying I want something is a full sentence. You want it because you
Yeah.
want it, not because whatever there is no shame in your desires. And when you start attaching let's say, reasoning, or you think that you need to explain a desire or a want, like F that noise. It is enough just to want it and to unshame your desire around it is so beautiful. And then the
Yeah.
energy of need is actually propelling away on a frequency perspective that which you're desiring. And I think it's so important not to white knuckle our desires. That's what need feels like to me a little bit. It's like white knuckling that what you want. And then you're contracting and you're not actually opening your heart. You're not practicing receptivity in a way that feels really easy, joyful, plentiful. So I think that's a really beautiful piece of the nugget of the conversation that is worth bringing
Yeah,
in.
definitely, definitely. Well, and then the final card that I have, the third one, I feel like really weaves in all of this together. I'll just give you the visual so that you can see.
Ooh, okay.
So one of the things that I have kind of morphed into is that when I look at the strength card, I don't necessarily see myself as the woman. I see myself as the lion.
Mm.
And this card is like, really? Okay. She is. Like, look at her. She's got the half of her beautiful flowing blonde hair and half of it's her mane because she is that lion. And then the gentleness with the little lamb or sheep or whatever that is with her. And, like the way that she is holding herself and the way she's adorned is just so beautifully feminine. Whereas normally when you think of strength, you're like brute strength, the lion, he's the king of the jungle. You think very masculine.
Mm.
And I love how she just brings in this softness to it where it's like, yeah, I'm sovereign, I'm strong, I'm power. And it doesn't have to be shoved in anyone's face. It doesn't have to be even spoken. Like you don't, no one has to go around, or the lion doesn't have to go around and say, hey, I'm strong. Hey, I can do this. Hey, I'm the king of the jungle, like you said before. He doesn't have to tell anyone or apologize for it or explain it. He
Mhm.
just is. And so I love this representation of the card because it's like, yes, I'm strong and also I'm soft. And you don't have to know the difference between the two of them. Just don't mess with me.
Yeah, and there's almost a sensual quality here that she's just owning.
Yeah. And then obviously the sheep feels very protected and secured. And so again, it doesn't have to be like a scary and in fact, the strength card, a lot of the books or explanations on it talk about fight or flight.
Mm.
And when I was in yoga teacher training, we talked a lot about it with, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And my teacher actually would use the example of your stress levels or your fight or flight doesn't react differently based on if your boss is yelling at you or if a lion just walked into the room. Like your fight or flight mode goes into action immediately in either case, and your body doesn't know, oh, it's just a man who's, upset with something, or this is a lion who could eat me right now.
Mm.
And so I love, again, this representation because there is no fight, there is no flight going on in this card. It's just beingness and sitting in strength and sitting in sovereignty and also feeling protected and safe and unapologetic.
Absolutely. I think that it's so cool that you felt called to bring this discussion of the nervous system into the strength card because when we live in a chronic, low grade, stressed out, stimulated state, and we are consistently and regularly activating or stimulating that fight or flight response in us, the sympathetic nervous system, that to me actually just feels like the exact opposite of strength. Aren't
Yeah.
moving through the world in this responsive, true way. In fact, many of us, when we are in a reactive place, we're not exactly proud of the words that come out of our mouth or the actions that we take from this reactive, stimulated, chronically stressed place. So there's something really strong, really beautiful, really powerful about coming from a regulated, responsive, parasympathetic rest and digest place. And in today's world, it can be way too easy to stay in that chronically stimulated place where we've got all the mental tabs open, we're on devices a lot of the time. Even when our stress is good, even when stress comes from, let's say, your kids, it's still something that's pulling you out of your body. Your awareness is spread thin, and it can be way too easy to stay in that overstimulated place. So I know that you, as a Taurus energy goddess here, very connected to Venus and self-worth, talk about the power of attraction versus needing and forcing. Do you have anything that you would want to share for someone that is just learning about the nervous system, or that this is a completely new conversation to, and they're like, wow, maybe I'm in a reactive place. Maybe I'm a little stressed. Where would you start?
Well, probably the same place I've started with a multitude of things, including like working with executive leaders, is that reaction is never going to put you in a good spot. Like you said, you're going to regret what you said or how quickly you did, or you could get hurt, or, there's usually not a good result with reaction. And so learning how to respond means pausing and assessing. And know in a, if a lion's coming at you, there's not a lot of time to do that. So it's going to be very instinctive, but that's what, like if your boss is yelling at you, you can use that as a time to pause, take a breath, and then assess the situation. Okay, this isn't about me. The stress is an external factor, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be the boss yelling at you, but your child is crying or something like that. Rather than just jumping to a conclusion or jumping to a physical reaction, taking just a moment and thinking, okay, let me pause for just a second. Let me take a breath myself or offer that to someone else, and then assessing the situation to see what can be the best response to it as opposed to a quick reaction.
I'm absolutely recommending the breath in there because that is
Mhm.
a game changer. I'll link an episode on the podcast to this show for anyone that wants to nerd out about the science behind breath and why we want to bother with our breath when we are transitioning from a reactive human to a responsive human. So that will be available for anybody that's curious. But I love that the strength is connected to this regulated, responsive, present being. And presence is what is required rather for us to receive, right? It's all about coming
Yeah.
back to the heart, coming back to the body, and being in that open place to feel more love, to receive more love. So, I'm curious if there's anything else about the tarot, these three cards together, perhaps, that are speaking directly to the energy of this time, the portal. Like, how can strength be a portal? And then we can also talk about the astrology aspect of the portal and see if there's anything else that comes up.
Well, I think just kind of talking through the phases again, where, this one she's obviously not a child, but you can link in that childlike curiosity by the fact that she's got her hands in his mouth. Most adults aren't going to do that, but a kid might try. Who knows? I want to touch your shiny teeth or something. So just moving through the phases of, okay, this could be a childlike curiosity, and this could be a strength of being um, curious and in your own body, and uh, asking questions, meeting strangers, like you said, and then moving into, life will sometimes hand us experiences that maybe things don't work out the way we thought, but then we still come back to this sovereign space, remembering ourselves. And that could very well be a phase that a lot of people are in right now. And learning how to work with the energies, especially when portals like Lionsgate or Leo season, or any type of spiritual or planetary movement or um, shift, like learning how to work with those energies in your own sovereign self, not worrying about the chatter around you, and then really coming into this state of beingness where you are the lion as opposed to two separate entities. You really are one, and you can see yourself as both the strong masculine and that soft feminine, both of which are unfuckable with.
Okay, the
Yeah.
duality here, the polarity of the masculine and the feminine strength coming together, the embodiment of this lion energy that is absolutely inherently worthy, unquestionable place in the world, all of the leadership qualities, all of this. I love it. And it's inviting me to speak a little bit more into the human, the heart, and the higher self, our consciousness, let's say, higher consciousness. And the sun being the planet of consciousness, yes, the heart pendant that she's
Got
wearing.
our
I
little
love it.
heart pendant. Yeah.
Absolutely. So after this conversation that we've had last time about the sun, the planet of our consciousness, and how the sun works to help us evolve and help our consciousness continue to elevate, to rise, to ascend, let's say. And then in Leo season, operating at home because the sun and Leo are associated, and the sun works in a way that is so efficient. It's almost like there are zero barriers, right? Leo is a fire sign, the sun is a fiery planet, and there's so much in that in the almost like the sun has no barriers, no blocks to working the way that it's desiring to work or this energy wants to move. And with the sun at home in this efficient, effective place, aligning with our spiritual sun, where many cultures around the world have thought of Sirius, the fixed star, as a spiritual sun, a indication of death and rebirth. The ancient Egyptians equated the rise of Sirius and the visibility of Sirius to a season of death and rebirth, and it was associated with the flooding of the Nile, which served so many ecosystems. So there's something here around this cosmic higher mind, this energetic portal of our spiritual sun aligning with our sun that we know so intimately and beautifully, and opening up this window of activation, if you will, this temporal gateway where we're able to be flooded with cosmic codes, galactic information, essentially information from our higher self at source, from this force field of love that is always all around us, that's coming in. And when we find stillness, when we are regulated, when we listen to our hearts and we can hear or get in tune with our bodies, there's a clicking with this almost like a meshing of the higher self with the human self, a clicking of this cosmic information that's on its way to us. And it happens in a way that is so powerful this season. We are always capable of tuning into our higher self, but there's something that's coming from a more galactic place this season that wants to find us. And all of this to say, whatever visions, whatever dreams are coming through for your life at this time, if the vision is in you, the vision is for you. And sometimes it comes in this sharp, fleeting, like ping, this knowing, and then we can very easily talk ourselves out of it because we get a little dysregulated when we think about, well, how is that possible? How can I make that happen? But when we lean into trust and we stay in the heart and we regulate, we're actually yes, attuning to those messages that are coming in and better able to hear them and hear our intuition, but also just letting go of the contraction and the white knuckling and the forcing of life. We don't have to do the heavy lifting, our human selves. The universe actually does it for us. So if you have any pings that are coming up around that you want to add to, please feel free. But that's sort of Leo season, this Lionsgate portal, this temporal gateway that we are still currently in, and that actually peaks today as we're recording this. So go ahead and take the space if you want.
When you were talking about like dreams and such, I know sometimes I'll have a dream and then I wake up and I remember it, but I don't write it down or something. And then in the past, I've been like, oh, why didn't I write that down? I need to remember, blah, blah, blah. But once the thought, like you said, once it's there, it's for you and it's not going anywhere. So allowing the beingness is really important because if you're struggling and white knuckling, like, oh, I've got to remember that dream. Oh, what did it mean? Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do that. Then you're kind of blocking what the universe is like, I got it. Like, let me do my thing now. I just dropped that in there so that you would know. And also, when you were speaking to that too, I was thinking about like a lightning bolt, which I love. But the lightning comes quick and fast and it's a flash. And sometimes, it can light up a whole city for a moment. And, you can feel the electricity in the air, but it doesn't have to stick around to see the outcome or to make the plans. Like it's there, it's struck, and now you can just let, it make the grass greener and let the thunder roll in and let the rain do its job and everything that's surrounded by it. So, yeah, I like that whole like we don't have to white knuckle stuff because the universe just drops these little pings in and opens up these portal doors for us and says, "Okay, now here you've done the work, you got to this point, you're aware of it, you're cognizant of it. Now just let me do the rest."
And stay in that trust, which the North Node
Mm.
in Pisces, inviting us collectively to lean into the thing that's bigger than us all, the all that is the universe, and trust it. I just have to say that I love that analogy of the lightning bolt not needing to stick around. You saw it, you don't need to prove that you saw it. There's no efforting. It's like, okay. I know that this vision dropped in. I don't need to force it to move urgently. I trust that the next lightning bolt will come, that the direction will come, that my intuition will receive the next step as I'm moving along. So that is, ooh, so good. The lightning bolt. I'm going to remember that forever. I love that. I'm curious if there's anything else that you want to touch on about strength, Leo, the sun, consciousness, all of it.
I think just kind of a tie a bow on it is similar to what that original Rider-Waite card is like, you're stronger than you think. So if you're thinking, oh, I need to build this strength, or oh, I need to do something, or oh, I need to act a certain way, or learn how to respond, you're stronger than you think. You've got it within you. And again, it can be a remembering where, a situation could come up and you handle it very differently than you did a year ago or a month ago or yesterday. And so that strength is constantly building within us, and there's nothing that we have to do to continue it except for believe in ourselves. So believing and knowing you're stronger than you think you are. So let it come from your heart and your soul as opposed to your brain.
Beautiful, beautiful reminder. And I hope that whoever needed to hear that is letting that sink all the way in. That is so, so beautiful. Stacy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for reaching out with the intuitive hit to record about the strength and Leo. I absolutely adore you. I love your hot take on the tarot and all of it. And this has been so much fun.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Love it.
Mwah.
Yeah.